Hey everyone, how are you? This is Javi with Javier Hurtado Realty. Today I bring to you a special guest, Will with Viva Realty, part of that group over at EXP. Will,
Thanks for having me on. Nice hanging out with you.
awesome. So guys, we have a lot of cool things we're going to talk about today. I think the first one a lot of people are really interested to know about is the rates. So Will, what do you think the market's going to look like if the rates do end up dropping?
That's a great question. I hear a lot about interest rates by either agents or people that I bump into asking, what are the rates doing, right?
Mhm.
I've read and heard that they're supposed to drop in the next year, three times at least. But
Yeah.
I'm always very careful of what I can control. I can't control the interest rates. Right?
Mhm.
So what I focus is on the things that I can control, which is my output. What can I do for my business to thrive and be successful every single day, every single month, every single year, right? So I don't have a magic ball, and nobody does. Maybe Warren Buffett does. He's got a magic ball that he can figure that out. But from what you hear in the media, it's supposed to go down, in especially three times next year.
Yeah, we have heard that. I can say that a lot of people are talking about it now. It's all over the social medias, all over the news, but let's say this. Let's, throw a hypothetical in there. What do you think the market's going to do if they actually don't go down?
And that's my question to everybody that I'm talking to. Let's say it's a buyer, and
Mhm.
that's what they're hanging their hat on, saying, "Well, I'm waiting for next year because rates are supposed to drop." And I say, "Well, what if they don't?" Right? So when I talk to agents, when I talk to sellers or buyers, I always say, "You know what? If you're truly motivated, if they're motivated, they're going to make something happen regardless of the interest rates." For instance, we bought a property this year. And while everybody was saying interest rates are high, well, we knew that if rates went down, we would have increased buyer competition. So we bought an investment property, made the numbers work, got a seller's concession, bought the interest rate down by 2 points, and got a really good deal when the interest rates were high. So what do you think happens if the interest rates go down? Does that increase competition or decrease competition for buyers?
Oh, I think it's very, very obvious that it's going to increase the competition.
Exactly. And what happens to prices when you have increased competition? Goes up. So if you find somebody that's truly motivated, it's our duty for real estate agents to educate that person. Well, that might happen and you might save, but at the same time, what happens? What could happen? Versus now, what if we could get you into a good price, a good home, and then still get some of these concessions that we got this year on it. And sometimes it's not even investment property, it's their own occupied property, right? So what happens is, you probably want to explore those numbers now and those possibilities now versus waiting until next year. Who knows what's going to happen? What happens next year if it doesn't? Then what? You're still renting,
Yep.
right? So breaking those numbers down are important. Breaking down those situations and those possibilities are important too.
I think it's great that you brought up renting because I had a client that for the last 4 years he was renting at $2,500 a month, and we were going to get him a property. His mortgage was going to be around 3,200, and he was telling me, "Hey Javier, that's a $700 difference. I don't know if I want to swing that." And I said to him, "Hey, look, the interest rates are high right now. I agree, but what you're paying $2,500 a month. That's 100% interest. So over the last 4 years, do the numbers for $2,500 a month." He came up with that number. He was like very like, wow, like I threw all that money away versus I could have been doing $3,200 a month into my own property.
And,
And
and that's the piece that people don't, a lot of renters, they don't do that analysis. And I
no,
always say what's beautiful is that the numbers never lie, right? You could just multiply it 25 times 12 times the number of years that you've been renting.
yep,
And then you truly see the pain. That's either you're motivated by pain or pleasure, right? Pain or pleasure, either one of them. I always like doing that analysis of breaking the numbers down and then showing them, hey, you are paying a mortgage. It's just not yours. It's
yeah,
somebody else's, right?
yeah,
And what happens, I always say, what happens if you, because most of the times I think most of the times renters are scared to commit for that payment? What if I can't make that payment? Well, what if you don't make that payment in rent,
Yep.
right? What happens then? Right? So they are paying a mortgage. It's just somebody else's. Stop paying somebody else's mortgage.
You heard that? You heard?
Unless it's mine. And
Then okay. So we're gonna segue to the next question now, which is more directed towards like people who are trying to get into real estate or even in real estate right now, actually. As a real estate agent, Will, how do you get leads?
I love this question because a lot of agents are always looking for that next best thing or that shiny object or that magic pill. There is no magic pill.
Mhm.
You got to put in the work, right? But the
Yep.
best way to do it, if you're a new agent, even a seasoned veteran like myself, right? We always focus on the fundamentals, right? I always like to, give you this visual, right? So Javi, uh, I know you're not a house builder, you're not a developer, or maybe you're starting in that path, but how do you where do you start when you build a house?
Start with the foundation.
The foundation. You put that foundation in first, and then you start building on top.
Yeah.
A lot of agents try to go on the top and then start building their way up, right? It just doesn't make sense. They have no foundation on the bottom. So I always say, first you start, don't talk about leads yet. Talk
Mhm.
about what your goals are, because that's going to motivate you to do the work every single day.
Yep.
Once you get your goals down, right, through whatever you want to do, dream and meditate, whatever, put it on paper so you can look at it. And
Mhm.
then from there, you start doing the work of getting all your database together, like a CRM or an Excel sheet or a paper, whatever it is. You get everybody from your Facebook, from your phone, and you put it down on paper or an Excel. I recommend a CRM. It makes it much easier. And then after that, then it's learning your scripts on what to say to these people when you reach out to them by either phone call or text messages or social media or pop-bys, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Once you start getting business from your friends and family, which is the best way to do it, then you could start looking into different lead generation or lead generation areas like expired listings or for sale by owners or pay per click, whatever it may be. So if you're asking me directly, where do I get mine? I started with my friends and family. And then once I had a good rhythm down on this, I got the process down. Then I moved into expired listings. I didn't want to call for sale by owners when I first started. But then eventually I got really good at that. And then I moved to for sale by owners. And that became one of my second favorite lead generation. And now we're exploring different options now with KV Core, drip campaigns, and local service ads. There's so many, and there's so many companies, so many companies out there that they're going to be willing to take your money too. So just be careful, right? Start with foundations.
I can tell you guys, I have jumped into these different companies, and the hard work is always the best work. Where Will's talking about it, you start with your friends and family. You call some expireds. You get people on the phone. It's a people business. You connect with people. Either you do connect with people, you do good business, or you don't, and you're not in business. But connection is key here, I think.
And one thing I should also mention is people fall in love with the idea of getting leads.
Mm-hmm.
An existing agent might be uh, going to a company because they're getting promised leads.
Yep.
If you haven't mastered communication yet, it doesn't matter how many leads come in, you're still going to have to pick up the phone and make that connection. That communication has to happen.
Yep.
So I would work on, your database management, but also communication skills. Because the chances are, if you're just picking up the phone and you haven't trained on communication with either sellers or buyers, that chances are you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities, even
Mm-hmm.
if those leads come in, right? So it's just like somebody that's going to a gym, right? Where they first started going to the gym, they might not be able to do a lot, right? After committed process of learning of like how to exercise correctly, eating right, showing up every single day, eventually they're going to see the results. But at first, it's going to be tough. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be painful. It's the same thing with real estate and any other sales business, right?
I agree completely. No, I think this is a good time to jump into the big question that a lot of people have. And with what's going to happen in 2024, it's a big question to solve, I guess, is how do you work with sellers?
How do I work with sellers? Okay. How do I work with sellers, or how do I
Start-
transition to
Well,
start
how do you
working?
start to work with sellers? How do you transition to that?
Okay. Okay. That's a great question, because I talk to a lot of agents and they ask this question a lot. How do I start making that transition over to working with sellers?
Hmm.
Right. Or some people, they want to jump right into sellers. And again, this is with mastering your communication and your presentation skills, right? Mike Ferry is the godfather of scripts. I would recommend looking into that, or another coach, another trainer, or another agent that's doing really well.
Hmm.
I committed to the process when I first started. I worked with 13 buyers, and then I said, okay, this is great, but this is time consuming. You're trading time for dollar, a lot, right? A lot of time for your dollars.
Yep.
You have to show maybe 10 homes, especially in this market where there's low inventory. You have to show many homes before they get their offer accepted, right?
Yep.
But when you switch over to the listing side, the beautiful thing is that, you control that property, but you also control your compensation, you control your time. And from one listing, you could generate supposedly on average 3 sales, one seller, two buyers, right?
Yep.
So that's the nice thing. So how do you transition over is the same thing that we were just talking about, like mastering your communication and then working on your presentation. So my coaches, when I first started, they had me write out the listing presentation, right? And
Mhm.
I remember prospecting, for sellers, calling my friends, my family, cold calling, expired listings, and I would be writing this listing presentation and actually role playing it every single day. It was probably like 3 or 4 months that I said to myself, I said, why am I writing this out? Why do I continue writing this out if I'm not even going on appointments?
Yeah.
But it's like the Karate Kid movie, right? It's like, why am I waxing on, waxing off, washing these cars if I'm not even, I'm not using it, right? When are you going to teach me? When am I going to go on an appointment? But it's, the confidence once you do book an appointment, if you've done the work, that's when, they say it's like when your skills finally match, your confidence level goes in, and then when you have that opportunity, you close, right? I remember going on my first listing appointment. If I had not done the work, then I would have totally flopped,
Yeah.
right? Just same as like if I'm picking up the phone and I haven't worked on my communication skills, doesn't matter what that lead, if it's a red hot lead, I'm just probably not going to close it. When opportunity meets preparation, then that's when, success happens. So
Well,
to answer your question, start working with a mentor, a coach, or an agent that works with a lot of sellers.
mhm.
Find out their blueprint and how they made the switch over to start working with sellers. I recommend, well, we could jump into, we could connect with somebody and walk them through exactly what we did, but listing presentations, role playing, mastery, and then eventually you're going to start closing some listings.
Wow, that's really exciting. So essentially, you're saying to just people who want to get into real estate, agents today, all that stuff, they want to get more information regarding all that stuff. It's best to reach out to you and to get connected. You'll give them more information, right?
Me, you, anybody they see on social media that's doing great, just ask them, are you working more with sellers or with buyers? Or whatever you're looking to do. If you're looking to work with buyers, renters, sellers, investors, commercial property, whatever it is, you'll find somebody, right? And you'll eventually become them if you do the same work. Copy and paste. That's what you want to do. You don't want to recreate the wheel.
Okay, that's very smart. So, Will, I guess if you had to leave one piece of information for everybody that's watching this right now, what would you want everybody to know here? One piece of information.
I think it's right there. It's success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. Tony Robbins talks about that all the time.
Mhm.
If you want to be a top producing agent, don't hang out with an agent that's just doing one or two deals.
Mhm.
You want to find the rock star. Veronica always talks about her mentor, right? Where she went to the top producer, the top agent in her brokerage, and learned from him. I hired the three best nationally. I wanted to excel, so I hung out with them. They stretched me in different places, right?
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, emotionally. It impacted my whole life, not just real estate, right? So that's what I would say is proximity is power. Success leaves clues. Just see who's rocking it. And then you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with, right? So that's what I would leave with.
Yeah, that's very accurate. What book was that in? I read that in one book. You are the average of 5 people that you hang out with.
You'll find that a lot of successful people, they think alike. It's
Yeah,
copy and pasting success. So I've heard it in multiple books.
fair. All right, Will. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in today. This is Will Vaquerano, and I will actually link his information below. And Will, it was nice having you, dude.
Nice hanging out. See you guys.
See you guys. Bye.